Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the look I filmed for you guys. It is an Indian wedding guest makeup look. I would totally rock this to a wedding reception or any other kind of event where you want to look a little extra more than you do every day. Yeah, it is super easy to create. I kind of just did a soft glittery pinky look, something to contrast an outfit. So if you're not sure what to pair with your outfit, if your outfit's a little bit of a different color to normal, for example this one is a very pastel-y green and you often can't find eyeshadows to perfectly match them, I would highly suggest contrasting and doing something a little fun. So I couldn't think of a better color than pink, and I'm just going to jump straight into the video, so enjoy. I'm going to start off by prepping my base. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Soft Matte Pro Filter Primer. I personally really like this product. I think if I am going to use a primer, it's probably going to be this one because it's quite hydrating and it doesn't ruin the effect of the foundation, which I find a lot of primers can do. They often change the way the foundation applies. It could be in a good way or bad way, but I'm just not the biggest fan of primers. But if I'm going to an Indian event, I usually prime. I kind of like to pat the primer into my skin because I find that it settles nicely and it's not sitting on the surface. I kind of, even though primer is meant to create a barrier between your foundation and your skin, I think patting it sort of blends it better. I don't personally like layering too much, especially when we have good friends like this. Of course, he had to come out and say hi for the video, so. I like to let the primer sit for about 5 minutes and then jump into the rest of the foundation routine. I find that it settles nicely and it doesn't create the layers I was talking about before. Next, I'm going to go in with foundation. And of course, since I have a lot of acne and breakouts, I don't want to be layering too much foundation, especially foundation that's matte. I want to have a foundation which is as hydrating as possible so my pimples don't get all flaky and gross. I think it's really important to keep in mind the texture of your skin as well as the type. So if you do have dry skin but you do have acne, make sure you are using a more hydrating foundation. But if you do have oily skin and acne, I would suggest using a more mattifying primer and then maybe still going in with a hydrating foundation because you don't want to be drying out those pimples too much. That's just the experience I've had before in the past when my skin type was more oily. So the foundation I'm going to be using today is this one. This is the Fenty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation. I know I have said in the past that I don't really love the Pro Filter Matte Foundation. So this, when they came out with this, I was quite hesitant to try it, but I have fallen in love. I am in the shade 290. And to blend the foundation, I will be using this Huda Beauty Buff and Blend brush. So I'm just going to start off with this problem area right here and I'm going to be stippling it in. What I like about this foundation is that it corrects redness as well. So you don't really have to go in with correctors or anything because the coverage is as such that it does a really nice job. Next, I'm going in with the Huda Beauty Tantour. I'm in the shade Light. I'll show you guys what the product looks like. How I would describe this product is that it's like the perfect color between a warm brown and a cool brown. So it's not going to make you look too orange, but then it won't make you look grey either. So it's kind of like the perfect shade. While I'm placing the product, I like to slowly blend it in because this product is easy to work with, but it also does dry quick. So I think you guys can see I don't have very defined cheekbones. I do have very chubby cheeks. So how I place my contour is I look to the side and exactly where that shadow falls, I like to place the contour. And the same with this side. I think you guys can see there's a slight dip under my cheekbone and that's exactly where you want to apply it. Make sure you are patting it, never swipe because you haven't set your foundation yet, so you are going to get rid of the foundation. If you do have a lot of acne scarring, make sure you are using powder bronzers because often layering cream products can make it look worse than it actually is. And what I like to do in order to blend, this is a quick hack, is just using that same foundation brush with the excess product and just going over it. And see how nicely that blends? Next, I'm going in with concealer. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer in the shade 190. The 190 is slightly light for me, but it's brightening, which is what I like. Now I'm just blending that out using my little Dirty 30s sponge. I love their sponges. I haven't found another sponge which gets so perfectly in the inner corner. To set my base, I'm going in with the trusty Laura Mercier translucent powder. It is just the perfect translucent. No matter what skin type you are, skin tone you are, it just works. And it doesn't leave a white cast, which is incredible. When Laura Mercier announced that they're not stocking at Sephora anymore, I was actually so sad. And my parents were in Hawaii, so I literally made my mum buy like 6 of them, so I have like a whole cupboard full of Laura Mercier translucent. But then they started stocking at Mecca, and I was like, seriously, could have told us in advance, because then I wouldn't have gone out and bought 6 at once. I like to tap off the excess on the brush and then set the other areas that I applied concealer. For that super flawless base, which is going to be long lasting, this step is essential. I go in with my MAC Studio Fix powder. This is in the shade C40. It is a bit yellow, but I think it's a nice color. This just ensures that your base does not budge the whole night. So I'm just setting my face with this. Especially around my mouth. I find that that's the area where my foundation doesn't always last the longest, this chin area. So I like to apply the Studio Fix powder there. This is great because it also adds a little bit of coverage. Of course, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy palette. I literally love this palette. I think that the collab between Anastasia and Amrezy is one of the best palettes there are. And I know that's a huge claim, but this palette just does such a great job with everything. I want to give a full review on this because I think I probably own like 75 eyeshadow palettes, and this is in my top favorites. I might do like a soft pink kind of look because that's a look that I really wear a lot to Indian events. Pink is just a color which goes with so many Indian outfits. A lot of them are pink, so yeah. I'm going to be dipping into this shade for my transition to start the look off. With this eyeshadow palette, make sure you are tapping off the excess if you have done your base first, because it does have a bit of fallout. Fallout doesn't really bother me too much because I typically do my eyes before I do my base. So I guess it's just about being mindful which palettes you're using and organizing your routine accordingly. It's fine to do your base before, but you are just probably going to have to be a little more careful. So if you're in a rush, probably do your eyes first. I've just kind of run that through my crease and a little higher than my crease. I'm dipping into this really stunning magenta shade. It is called Samsa. I did a very similar look using this eyeshadow palette on my Instagram a while ago and you guys loved it. It is the perfect mix. This magenta and this transition shade just look so good together. I'm just concentrating this eyeshadow on the outer V of my eye. I'm not bringing it in too far because I find that closes off my eye a little, so just maintaining that on the outer corners. And make sure you are differentiating it from the transition. You don't want to be applying this color over the transition shade because it is a bit overpowering and it will take over the entire look. Next, I'm going in with this shade. It is the most stunning rose kind of pink. Just on a flat brush. This brush is the Morphe M209 and I find that it's great for packing on colors, especially glitters. It really holds the eyeshadow nicely, and when you apply it on the eye, it retains the pigment, which is amazing. So from the inner corner to about 1/4 of the way is where I'm kind of keeping that color. I don't want to take it too far out either. Next, I'm going in with the sparkly shade called Barb, and I'm just using my finger to apply that on top of the shade Anastasia, which I just applied. It just gives the perfect glittery, shimmery look. I love how reflective the pearls in this are. They just look amazing. Next, I'm just going back in with that brush that I used to apply the mattes and just bringing them back a little in case they got lost. That's the majority of the eye look. Now, we want to add a little bit of blackness. We want to make it a little smoky, give it that extra oomph. I will be doing a smoky liner. The brush I'm going to be using for this, it is literally one brush. Two if you want to be extra, but one brush is all you need. It is the Zoeva brow line brush. So it is an eyebrow brush. It is not meant for this, but it works a charm. This is what it looks like. I'm going to be using these two shades. I'm just tracing my upper lash line. I'm keeping it very close. This is a great technique if you have hooded eyes. Pretty much just stamping it with slight swipes. So first stamp. If you're a beginner, I would highly recommend just going in flat and stamping like this, because there's literally no way you can go wrong. And now just to blend it out the tiniest bit, I'm going in with that brown shade and literally just running it over the edges of the black so it looks more diffused. You can be really carefree with this. Whatever excess I have on the brush, I'm just gonna apply really close to my lower lash line, just on the outer corner as well. See the effect that that has given my eyes? It's kind of made everything look a lot more nicer and complete. Especially for an Indian look, I would highly recommend not skipping over this step because it always adds that extra little glam that you're looking for. The beauty of using eyeshadow instead of eyeliner to do this is it won't smudge. So I've just taken that about halfway. Don't take it the full way. And then what I like to do is sort of clean the brush on my hand to get rid of the excess product, but sort of keep a little bit of black in the brush. And then go in with that transition shade, the OG. Blend them together. So I'm just dusting off the excess bake. If you have really dry under eyes, you probably don't want to leave it on this long. So the highlighter I'm going to be using is Kaur Cosmetics in the shade number 2. This is the prettiest highlighter. You guys can literally use this for anything. You can use it as a body shimmer, mix it in with some moisturizer, apply it everywhere. You can use it as a highlighter. You can use it as an eyeshadow. There's just so much you can do with it. I'm pretty sure this one's my favorite shade actually. But yeah, go check her out on her website. There are a few shades, so depending on what goes best with your skin tone and what you want to mainly use it for, you can pick accordingly. So because it is a loose highlighter, I'm going to be very careful with it. Oh my gosh, how good is that? I would totally just wear this on a no makeup day and just walk out of the house. I love it so much. Okay, before I do the rest of my outfit and everything, I'm just going to pop on a quick lippy. I'm going to be using the MAC Spice Lip Liner. So on my lips, I'm going to be using the Fenty Stunna Lip Paint in the shade Unbuttoned. Okay, that's the lippy done. I'm tempted to put a little gloss on top. I'm going in with the Meccamax All Nighter Gloss Bus. So I totally skipped a blush for this look, but I'm not mad. I really like how it's turned out. Let me just go pop on my jewelry. If you guys liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you want to see next, and if you enjoy this, because it really helps me in creating more relevant content for you guys. And please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video.